Hey everyone, we're going to do a quick video with some information about Antifa and its history. So, very quickly running through what Antifa is. If you are very on top of political YouTube, then a lot of this is going to be reviewed for you. But I want to cover it anyway, and it also might be good for people to share with people they know. So this graphic is one of the first things I saw that woke me up politically. This is from RevCom, which is also Refuse Fascism, which is, if you watch the protests, they're the ones with the signs, black background, white lettering, no this, no that, Trump is a fascist, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, that's kind of what woke me up to everything. And before the mainstream media was talking about Antifa, I had woken up to what Antifa was a little bit prior to that. Anyway, moving on to, this is the first, there used to not be an article in Wikipedia for Antifa, or at least when you would do internet searches, I actually wanted that, internet searches, you would not find an English article, you would find this article about German Antifa. So this is literally the history of Antifa. And you see Antifaschistische Aktion, German, commonly known under the abbreviation Antifa, I cannot talk this morning, was an organization affiliated with the Communist Party of Germany. Some of us have been telling you guys that Antifa are commies, but that's straight up in the history. So I looked this up and I wanted to show you that. So I'm gonna keep jumping through the searches for the word communist. Communist, so 20s and 30s, communists versus Nazis. You see how they always call us Nazis and fascists? Part of it is almost that their rhetoric is like stuck in the rhetoric that was used for the foundational Antifa. I mean, they're using chants that, and slogans on their signs that I've seen protests, I've seen pictures from protests from like the 70s and stuff, in the 60s, and they had the same like slogans, similar chants. Like one of the chants that they do, and they say Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA, no Trump. That chant that they do in the 70s, that was no KKK, no fascist USA, no war. They just changed it to no Trump. Anyway, so jumping through, you see how communist appears in the article a few more times. The epithet fascist was used in the 20s to describe capitalist society in general and virtual any anti-Soviet or anti-communist activity or opinion. And that ties into the Solinsky rule number 5, which is like pick on people. I think it said ridicule is man's most potent weapon, but I always summarize it as pick on people, because that's what they do, like pick on people, name call. That's literally one of their rules of opposition. And we have to stop trying to defend ourselves and just call them out on what they're doing. That's what I do. So when they do that to me, I have this graphic that I upload, like, rule number 5 of the Solinsky rules. Like, you can't touch me with that. I know you're playing rule number 5 card. Here's another thing I wanted to cover. It's paramilitary. So this article used to be much shorter, and it basically talked about the history of Antifa being that it was the paramilitary arm of the communist movement in Germany. That was its foundational. So it's not insane that we're saying, like, hey, this is the paramilitary arm of the communist movement in the U.S. And sometimes you hear, we have to go after the Antifa group. And then we've heard other people say, like, Antifa's not a group. So here's the way it works. Antifa itself is a movement composed of several small groups. So when they try, I've done videos on this. I'll link some of them in the description. When they try to claim that, oh, there's no group, there's no leader, there's no one group. That's right. There's no one group. There's multiple groups. So what they do is they have all these different groups that they have, and then they have a hierarchy in each individual group, and then the groups just coordinate together. So like 1 or 2 groups, or maybe 4 groups, will lead a protest together, and then they'll also invite all the other groups. And I think part of the reason why they do this is historically there used to be the forerunner, is that the right word? Forebear? Anyway, historically, the original Antifa was Weather Undermen, but it was one group. So this is basically like Weather Underground coming back, and this is their strategy that they're using. And in fact, Bill Ayers was tied to Weather Underground. You may know who he is. He's one of Obama's friends, and he like did time for being in Weather Underground, and they were basically what we think of as Antifa. They basically were the same thing. In fact, they were actually worse. At the height of it, they started bombing police stations. So this could get real worse. But they didn't actually kill anybody, except for, I know they blew up one of their own apartments. I think they may have killed one of their own people, but I believe they didn't kill anybody else. But the way that things turned around was eventually the government realized that this was really bad, and they cracked down and put a bunch of the leaders in jail, and then, left it to if you put the leaders in jail, this is what the government needs to do if they actually legitimately care, which sometimes I feel like they don't. I feel like we're probably infiltrated. FBI might be like these masked people out on the street as Antifa. Would not surprise me at all, given the leaks that we've seen with like the Mueller, not the Mueller probe, the Nunez memo, the kind of leaks that came out with that. So anyway, if you have any questions about this stuff, because I'm plowing through a whole lot of material all in one video, if you have any questions about this stuff, let me know in the comments below, and I will find you a video, or maybe my other subscribers will step in and find you some good videos to explain what I'm talking about in that regard, to catch you up to speed. But anyway, so where was I? So basically, yeah, so the father or the parent to Antifa was this Weather Underground. So it was basically one group. They started out as Students for Democratic Socialism or something like that. Where have we heard democratic socialism before? And I even have video footage. I should do yet another video on this. I have video footage somewhere. I have to find it. Where the media actually asked these college students, who here is a Democrat and who here is a communist? And they were all like, yeah, I'm a communist, yeah! So that, all of that bubbled up in the 60s and 70s, and a lot of people don't even realize, like, all those anti-war protests against Vietnam, that's what they were actually about. They were about bringing communism here. And there's accusations that potentially communist Russians, Soviet Russians, were infiltrated into the U.S. So if that's true, then they started a movement. If they actually fell, it doesn't really matter, because they started a movement that's now bubbling up into the current Antifa. But these Weather Underground people, who are I don't know what the word is, basically historically sort of the beginnings of Antifa in the U.S., they all got thrown in jail. Bill Ayers was the leader of that group. So for this Democratic Socialist, he was the president or the secretary or some position in the Democratic Socialist Club in Berkeley, and it's Students for Democratic Socialism. The guy he ran against in the election, who didn't win in this little student election for this club, the guy that he ran against, I don't know if they were friends, but they were in the same club. That guy is the guy who runs Refuse Fascism, which is the group, Refuse Fascism, aka Radicom, which is the group with all the no signs. And in fact, let's see. Right here, these no signs. Those people, that's a communist group. It's the same thing as Revolutionary Communist Party. I mean, they filed new paperwork, but it's like all the same people on the board and stuff. I found all this stuff when I was first waking up politically, so I don't know how to find all of this stuff again, because some of it I didn't hang on to because I wasn't planning on being a YouTuber at that time. One of the reasons why I ended up YouTubing was, as I kept finding so much information, I was watching YouTubers put stuff out, and I was finding more stuff that they hadn't put out that I found interesting and thought was juicy and thought that the public would be interested in. So when I started to realize that, then the first step was I started saving the research, and I was going to try to share it with an existing YouTuber. I was probably contacting YouTubers who were way too big to contact. So I contacted a few YouTubers to try to propose that I could do research for them. That didn't go anywhere. And then one day, I just decided I'm going to stumble through it and figure out how to edit videos and just start putting out my own content with all this research that I keep finding. So that's why I'm here. That's how the story of my channel and a little bit of the history of Antifa. I will revisit this topic. I think that's enough for today. A nice little just under 12-minute bite. Thanks everybody. Have a nice day. Hey.
Stand up against this stuff. And it's so